Hello everyone! Today I am going to make 30 bouquets from one of my deck gardens. This is for our garden walk, and I am doing a separate video all on the garden walk because it's one of my favorite weekends here in Chicago. But I do giveaway bouquets because the last 2 years I wanted to participate in the garden walk, but my gardens weren't accessible because they were on our rooftop, so there's no way to go outside directly up to the gardens. So in order to bring my garden down to street level, I made mini giveaway bouquets. So the giveaway bouquets that I make during the week are usually a little larger, these, just so I can get more to give to people. I use a little bit smaller jars, but I would do day one from the front deck, which I have done, and then this is for day two for the back deck. I do that because I like to see the difference in the bouquets, front versus back. I'll show you some pictures of the front deck bouquets. They were very vibrant, a lot of colors. This one's I am trying to film a video here. This one is definitely going to be, I think, much more pastel, fewer colors overall, but I think still really beautiful. So I basically would just leave these on our stairs and say, take a free bouquet. The flowers were grown upstairs, and that was all I could do. Now that I have the garage deck though, it is so nice to actually be able to show people part of my garden in person. Again, I will have a video of the garden walk, but I've already met some really great people on day one, so I'm excited for day two today. So I got these small jars from Amazon. This is actually the only time I have to purchase jars. Usually I have enough jars either from donations from neighbors or just saving them over the winter that I don't have to find or purchase any jars throughout the season when I do my regular giveaway bouquets. But because this is a larger volume at once and I want smaller jars specifically, this is the one time that I actually have to buy jars. I will say though, this is the first year, so I've used the same jar set the last 2 years. This is the first year where I've had broken vases. 3 total out of the 60 total that I bought, but still it made me a little bit sad because I don't remember any breaking in the past. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to make these 30 bouquets with you. I like to do this one just to show in general how productive a small garden can be, but also how productive it can be if you're using cut and come again flowers, because I think everything that I'm going to harvest today is a cut and come again flower, which means I can cut them now and then I'll have more blooms in just a few days. What is weird though, I don't think I have, oh, there's one zinnia. I don't have many zinnias out here. I have a lot on the front deck and not many of them are blooming yet. So this is going to be interesting because I think it's going to be my first time making a lot of bouquets without many or any zinnias. So let me take you around. I'll show you which plants I'm going to use for the bouquets, and then we'll get harvesting and get these made. And then I have to very carefully carry them downstairs. Here's a look at the garden right now. And I think I'll do another sweep at the end just to show you how many flowers I have removed. It might look a bit terrifying at first, but I promise you they all will grow back. The 2 years before, but the 2 years before I have purchased filler flowers myself because I didn't grow enough filler flowers, so I would get baby's breath from the grocery store, but the rest of the flowers were mine. But this year, I think I'm going to use a lot of the Angelonia for the filler flowers. I mean, seriously, look at how much Angelonia I have. There's that box, that box, that box, the box right in front of the table, and I do have some Angelonia tucked into the borders. So what I'm going to do to start is just grab the Angelonia that either is bent over or maybe potentially already broken stems, so the ones that are hanging down like that. I'm going to grab those first just so I keep a good shape with the rest of the Angelonia and it still looks full even after I'm done. But with a lot of these cut flowers like the Cosmos and the Dahlias, those I'm going to take all of them. And again, I promise they will grow back. Definitely my China asters as well. The Cosmos don't last very long in vases, but I still want to include them. But everything else usually I can get a full week out of, if not a little bit more. I also have this China aster bed, which I think you can see some of them are horizontal from the rains we had yesterday. But those I'm definitely going to harvest. I'm probably going to take everything else that's blooming. Oh, one of those looks like it needs some water, so I'm going to have to water these really quickly. I have more Angelonia, and I might grab some hydrangea flowers, but I'm not sure. I'm going to wait and see how full I can get with the rest and if I want to add any more hydrangeas. Now, the method I found to be the most efficient at making these is to cut the flowers, and I'm starting with the filler flowers. Cut the flowers, put them in a larger jar that I will then carry over to the table, and then I will put one flower in each jar at a time. So I'll put, one filler flower in each, then add another filler flower, just so I make sure I'm getting flowers into all the vases. I think this Angelonia is going to be an absolutely beautiful filler flower for these bouquets. So I have my larger jars. I'm just going to take one out at a time, strip the bottom leaves off, toss them into, oh, I have two here, toss them into this bowl, which then I dump into my composter at the end. And these jars do vary in size. I have some that are taller, some that are shorter. So I am going to try to match like the length of the flower with the height of the jar. These pigeons, I don't know what has gotten into them, but I swear it's like having, I don't know, similar to just a bunch of cats running around, like not really getting along with each other, but tolerating each other. All right, those are my 15 jars of pink. And I'm gonna move that one over just so it's basically the first two rows. I didn't realize I laid these out so evenly. But now I'm just gonna go back and add a second one. I first fell in love with Angelonia last year. I grew mostly the cascading variety. This year I have the cascading and this one that stands more upright. I love them both. But now that I've realized they are cut and come again and I can use them for filler flowers, I think I'm gonna try to add as many more varieties as I can. These have done so well for me. I barely do anything to them and they just look nice throughout the season, which is really enjoyable. And I love how full just a few plants can be. I mean, I think in those brown boxes I have 3 Angelonia plants total. You need to not mess up, you guys, you cannot mess up my bouquets. I will give you one later if you want. All right, I'm done with the pink Angelonia. I'm gonna do the exact same thing with the purple and get the rest of the 15 filled. I would encourage everyone to give a bouquet away to someone, and especially if it's unexpected, because I started doing my giveaway bouquets 2022 or 2023. There's a nonprofit called With Love Chicago that would leave bouquets around the city, and it would say like for you, so whoever found it would get a bouquet that day. And so I was like, well, I can do that, but I can also just put them outside so I don't have to walk around very much. And so I started doing that, and I just thought it would be something where people would think like, oh, this is nice, this is cool, I'll take one. But I've gotten some really, really great responses. I've gotten some thank you cards that I've saved where people just say, you know, they were having a bad day. Probably no one knew they were having a bad day, and they walked around and saw a bouquet and got one, and it turned around their day. I mean, probably not completely, but it made their day a little bit better. I've had people that have lost someone recently, and one of the bouquets that I put out reminded them of that person. So it's been even more amazing than I thought. And there's some quote that I'm definitely about to butcher, but something like, you don't know what grief people are carrying that are walking around. So just treat everyone kindly. And that actually was something that changed for me about 10 years ago. My dad, unfortunately, passed away from kidney cancer back in August 2015. And in the last few days of his life, so we knew that he wasn't going to get better, but he had not passed yet. I was just out with my husband, and someone was just unnecessarily rude to me. And of course, they didn't know what was going on in my personal life. And I mean, it wasn't anything that I would have started crying about normally, but I just burst into tears. That person was probably confused. But that was the moment I realized I want to treat people in a way that they might be grieving someone that they love very much. So that's kind of just what I go with interactions and people, the day-to-day life. Like, let's say you're walking in behind someone to the grocery store and they don't hold the door open for you. Like, you can either get irritated that they didn't do that, or just think, well, maybe they're going through something and I can just open the door myself. And then you're not angry about the small things anymore. So that has been something that was really life-changing. And I feel like I'm hoping the bouquets can make people that are maybe going through something tough just a little bit happier for a moment. I'm going to do dahlias next. These are the wine-eyed Jill, and they are definitely, well, dahlias in general, one of the hardest ones for me to cut. But again, they are cut and come again. It's good to cut them so that it triggers the plant to put out more blooms. However, if there is a bee on a flower, which one do you want? I will leave any flowers that currently have pollinators on them. But it looks like there are 6 that are ready to harvest. So with these, I mean, I can usually tell just by how open they are, but also you can do the wiggle test. and see like how flimsy or how strong their branches are. So these are 6. Let's go ahead and put them in. Look at how pretty these are. Again, these are Wine-Eyed Jill. I got the tubers from, well, I mean, she sells tubers from her family farm, but I met her in Minneapolis at the Bailey's event last year. These are so beautiful. I'm definitely gonna save these tubers because I need these year after year in my garden. So these are all the Wine-Eyed Jill dahlias that are ready. And actually, I mean, other than the pink pearl that is blooming yellow, none of my dahlias behind me have opened up yet, but I think they do have buds on them, so hopefully soon. But these I started this spring. I planted them inside. I did start them inside in April and then transplanted them out. But I think I'm gonna add these to the purple ones. I already put one in here because I accidentally cut one that had an open bud on it. That's okay. But I think, because there's pink in here, but I don't want to be too pink, but there's also that little like hint of purple on the outside of the petals. So I think that'd be really nice. I want you in a slightly shorter jar. Now this is definitely the hardest because all of the dahlias now that are fully opened are out of my garden. Again, they will bloom again. There are buds starting to open, but for that little period of time, I'm always like, oh no, but it's worth it. It's worth it to give flowers away. Like I get more joy from giving flowers away than I do from seeing them in the garden. I get joy both ways, but I like the idea of also being able to spread that joy to other people. I'm not gonna have enough dahlias for all the purple jars, but I think overall that is pretty good. So now I'm gonna grab probably the China Asters next, fill the rest of these because those are also kind of a statement flower, and I wanna make sure, sorry, I'm just I keep looking at these and how pretty they are. I wanna make sure I have a statement flower in all of the bouquets. So I'm gonna grab China Asters next and then add them to the jars that don't have dahlias. So I just harvested all of the souffle light pink China Asters from my garden. These were the earliest ones to bloom. I have probably 8 different varieties of China Asters. I get my seeds from Johnny's Seed. I will link the video down below that goes into all of the China Asters that I bought, but I start them from seed inside 6 to 7 weeks before last frost, and they usually start to bloom near the end of July. I like these too because they kind of look like dahlias. I mean, not identical, but they have a very similar like shape and the size. I mean, these are not dinner plate dahlias, obviously, but this China Aster is basically the same size. So I really love these. Also, cut and come again. The only problem I have had with the China Asters is scale. I usually get that maybe like late August, early September. So I just try to keep an eye out for that and treat it as soon as I see it. But other than that, I mean, pretty easy flowers to grow, at least in my opinion. They do start a little slower, not as slow as my Gomfrino when I start them from seed, but I feel like they start a little slow at first and then really explode in growth. I have a handful of the Miss Europe Resist. These are just a little bit more of a saturated pink than the souffle light pink ones, but they're very similarly shaped. And then I have one of the Valkyrie China Aster, which obviously looks very different. It's a light peach and has those really long wispy petals. So one of the bouquets is gonna get this flower. So I grabbed some Cosmos and I'm gonna put these, let me cut you a little bit. I'm gonna put these in with the, oh, I was just looking for my pruners and they're under my arm. I think that might be the most obvious place I've ever looked for my pruners, under my own arm. So anyway, I'm gonna put these in with the vases that don't have the souffle light pink, just so we have a little bit more color variety for some of these. Again, I don't need to think this deeply about giveaway bouquets, but I do like to make them look pretty, at least pretty in my opinion. All right, I think I'm done, mostly because I have to be to finish getting ready before the garden walk starts. I'm gonna leave these here for now because the jars are a little bit wet and I carry them down in cardboard boxes. So I'm gonna let them dry for a little bit, put them in the boxes, carry them very slowly down, and then put them out front with a sign. But these are making me very happy. Let me give you a little close up here. So the front 2 rows have the purple Angelonia and the dahlias. Yeah, I would definitely grab one with those dahlias in it. And then in the back, I have the pink Angelonia, a lot of the light pink asters, some yarrow. I put some dianthus in there. I think these are absolutely beautiful. So that's gonna be everything for this video. You will see these again in the garden walk video, but I'm very excited to take these downstairs, and I hope that people love them. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you give away bouquets randomly and if you feel like that same amount of joy from others that I do. And I will see you in the next video where you'll see our garden walk. Bye.